G'day guys, Disney Dave coming at you once again from Down Under, and welcome to another edition of my pop vinyl collection. Today we are taking a look at what I consider probably the biggest bulk of my pop vinyl collection aside from the Disney stuff that I've already shown off. These are all my pop vinyls from movies and TV shows. It's mostly movies, but there's a couple of TV shows that we'll tack on the end of this as well because it's probably so little of them they don't really need their own video. When I first started collecting pop vinyl figures, I found it sort of the answer to my prayers. Previously to pop vinyls, there was no way to sort of collect figures from my favourite movies. Sort of like a concise collection of figures that showcased my love for cinema, my love for all my favourite movies and all my favourite movie characters. And then pop vinyl comes along and there's figures from all of my favourite movies, and I really just had to start collecting them. The collection really has gotten out of hand because Funko has just picked up so many crazy licenses, a lot of them really unexpected, especially in most recent days, but it's really given me an opportunity to showcase my love of all my favourite movies and characters. The best thing about these is you see them sitting on the shelf and I have a showcase of all my favourite characters, and you look at them and you remember the movies and you remember the memories of the movies, of watching the movies. You remember the characters, you remember the lines, you remember the scenes, and it's almost like immersing yourself in all of your favourite pop culture. And that's what pop vinyls are. They're there for the memories, and that's why I like to collect them, and that's why I like to collect. And again, I am an out-of-box collector, so anyone out there who is an in-box collector and might get a little bit squeamish at looking at a complete collection of pop vinyls that are not in their boxes, turn it off now, because you're going to see a whole lot of unboxed pop vinyls here, just the way I love it. If you have a collection, you gotta have a collection. You gotta display them properly. I don't want a whole wall just filled with pop vinyls in boxes. It looks like I've just walked into a shop. I want to display them, I want to look at them and really appreciate them for what they are. If you're an inbox collector, then that's totally cool. You collect however you want to collect. Everyone has their own little ways of collecting what makes them happy. Collect how it makes you happy, but please appreciate that this is what makes me happy. This is how I like to collect and how I like to display my figures. So without further ado, let's take a look at a massive unboxed collection of pop vinyls. Okay, what better way to start with our pop vinyl movie collection than with some of the very first characters to ever grace the screen of cinema. These guys are, of course, the Universal Monsters collection. I love them, had to get them all. This guy over here is the odd one out, but I had to pair him up with the team over here. He is, of course, Nosferatu from the original German experimental film Nosferatu. He is commonly regarded as the very first screen version of Dracula. He basically is Dracula. The story was pretty much the same as Dracula, except they couldn't get the rights to the name Dracula or to the story, so they basically ripped it off a little bit. There you go, he's awesome, Nosferatu. I had to have him next to the man himself, Dracula. Oh, Dracula. This is my favourite of the Universal Monsters, both character-wise and film-wise. I love the movie so much. Bela Lugosi is just so cool as Dracula. It's my favourite novel of all time too, so I love the character, and that figure is just awesome. Next to him comes up the two from Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. They are two fantastic movies. In fact, Bride of Frankenstein could very much rival Dracula as my favourite of them. It's just a perfect movie. It's fantastic. Boris Karloff as Frankenstein is brilliant in these movies as well. They were two just brilliant performances, Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff in these films. I just love them so much. And I love these figures. They're cool. I think the Frankenstein is a glow-in-the-dark one. Or is she glowing? Or are they both? I'm not sure. I think one or both of them are glow in the dark. And then, of course, Phantom of the Opera. Oh, I love Phantom of the Opera so much. Again, another one where I just love the novel. I love the film. I don't think any film version has quite captured the awesomeness of the book. But I love the character, and that figure is just perfect. Another favourite is the Wolfman. Lon Chaney as the Wolfman was just so cool. And this figure, this whole line of figures was just awesome. It came out of nowhere, and I just love them. I had to buy them all. It's not usually I'd get so excited about such a huge range of figures. Usually I only buy one or two, but I had to get all of these guys because I love them so much. We got Creature from the Black Lagoon. Not really my favourite of the bunch. It was more sort of, that was the turning point of the Universal Monsters movies, where they moved from being real A movies to being real cheap B movies. A lot of the earlier ones were just fantastic, like Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and then the more of them they made, the cheaper and more cheesy they got. So Creature from the Black Lagoon isn't a huge favorite, but you gotta love him. He's a lot of fun. And then the original Mummy right here. Boris Karloff was the Mummy as well, I think. Boris Karloff played Dracula at one point too. They all just sort of played each other's characters from one point or another. There was like 5 or 6 movies for each character, and they all just sort of took their turns playing the characters, which was kind of weird. But there you go, there's the original Mummy. Sticking with the horror theme, we have what is actually the newest addition to my collection right here, and it is Norman Bates from the film Psycho. Yeah, so this is from the film, not the TV show Bates Motel. As you can tell by the outfit there, he's wearing the mother's wig and the mother's dress. He's got the bloody knife in his hand right there, which is a nice little touch. That is just one of the greatest movies ever made. Alfred Hitchcock, what a fantastic director. This is another recent addition as well, of course, Pennywise from It, the new version. Loved the movie. I thought it wasn't as scary as I was expecting it to be, but it was a really good movie nonetheless. I prefer this version over Tim Curry's. Tim Curry's is just crazy. Great performance by Tim Curry, but I love this Pennywise. I think he looks cool and this figure is just awesome. These are also recent additions. I bought all these fairly close together. It must be, well, it's obviously Halloween coming up at the time I'm filming this, so they've released quite a few horror figures. These are ones that come out of nowhere for me as well. One of my favorite movies ever, The Shining. So excited to find out they did these ones. So we have Jack Torrance right there. Jack Nicholson's greatest performance in my opinion, next to maybe the Joker from Batman. But this movie is just so awesome and he is fantastic in it. And this figure is, look at the details on these figures now. They're just getting better and better. Little blood splatter on the head. The paint jobs are getting much better than they used to be. Really awesome. Of course, we have Wendy in the middle here. Originally, I was just going to get Jack and Wendy, but I thought I have to get Danny as well and complete the set. You can actually get the twins as well as an exclusive. Pop Culture in Australia is selling them as an exclusive. Maybe I'll pick them up one day when I get some pennies to claim them or something like that. Couple more classic cinema characters right here. This is the collection from the Wizard of Oz line. These are some of the earliest pop vinyls as well. Some of the first ones I ever bought. Again, these were ones that sort of tipped me over the edge into collecting pop vinyl figures. We've of course got the Scarecrow, Dorothy and Toto there, the Tin Man, the Lion. Love those 4 guys right there. Wicked Witch of the West and one of her little monkey guys right there, flying monkeys, and Glinda the Good Witch is there as well. Next up are these guys from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Awesome. Again, ones that was just come out of nowhere, just bizarre. We've of course got King Arthur here, the great Graham Chapman. Brilliant. And then we have Sir Bedivere. I think this is Sir Bedivere, Terry Jones's character from the movie. Of course, the Black Knight. Only a flesh wound. There was actually one, I think, where he was missing an arm and a leg, which was a cool little variant one, but that came out a bit later than these ones, and I just picked up this one earlier. Didn't bother to go back and pick up the variant, but that's alright. He's pretty cool right there. We've got Tim the Enchanter, the Guardian of the Gate. And I think he came with this guy, the little bunny rabbit, one of the killer rabbits. And another John Cleese figure right here, which is the French Taunter. I think they did brilliant with that line. I wish they'd done more. There were more characters they were going to do, and they just never did them, which is kind of sad. I wish they had. I'd love to see some Life of Brian figures as well. That'd be great. So if we move down a little bit, we have got Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Again, one of the early pop vinyls, which is long sold out. Goes for a mint on eBay, but I couldn't sell this guy. He's just too cool. He's awesome. Look at his little business card thing there and everything. It's just great. I love Jim Carrey. I loved his movies growing up, and I have to have him in the collection there, just sort of represents it a little bit. Again, a couple of figures that tossed me over the edge into collecting pop vinyls. These are the Back to the Future figures, Marty and Doc from Back to the Future 1. I have it paired up with a cheap DeLorean that I have here. They actually did a pop vinyl rides DeLorean with little Marty McFly in the top there, but I didn't buy it. I'm happy to have them paired up with this cheap little plastic remote control DeLorean thing right there. Works well enough for me. And of course, I've got this guy here as well, which is Marty McFly from Back to the Future 2. Had to have this one. He's on the hoverboard, which is cool. They did do a Doc from Back to the Future 2, but he was some sort of exclusive, like pop vinyl mystery box exclusive or something like that. And he was sort of hard to get. I wasn't going to buy a whole box just to get one figure. So I'm just happy to have Marty right there. One of my favorite films, and another one I was surprised to see get a pop vinyl treatment, and that's Braveheart. William Wallace. Yeah, Mel Gibson. This movie is just cool. And look right there, I've got him in front of the Blu-ray right there. And They did a variant of this too, like blood splatter on the face, which was cool too. But this one came out first and I picked it up when I could. I would love the blood splatter one though, that does look... This here is what I call my Roald Dahl shelf. We have a few Roald Dahl characters on here. Of course, 3 figures from the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory range. This was one, like I was saying before, they did a massive line of these. There was a figure for each one of the kids. There was Oompa Loompas, but I just had to settle with the main 3. Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder, another one of my favorite performers. I think he was just absolutely brilliant. And this is my favorite film of his. He's just... it's just one of those movies that's just so fantastical and so wonderful. And then of course I also had to pick up Charlie Bucket, the main character, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, and his grandpa Joe there as well, which are both great little figures. Charlie's got his little golden ticket in his hand right there, which is a nice little touch. And Grandpa Joe has his little bottle of fizzy lifting drink there too. Great little touches. I love how they do that. They just bring in these little touches from the movie, just little iconic things from the film that just make these figures just stand out even more. And another Roald Dahl classic character, of course, the BFG. Loved the book as a kid. The movie was okay. I thought it was a bit long and a little bit boring and tedious to sit through, but I love the character. I had to have him there. I'm not too sure why they didn't do him as one of the big pop vinyl figures. I guess they just assumed that he wouldn't sell very well. Because kind of weird. One of these things that I hate, where they just get the scaling all out of proportion. You got a BFG, it's the same size as Willy Wonka there. But that's okay, I'm happy to be able to have him in the collection there somehow. Ferris Bueller figures right here. We picked up Ferris Bueller and Cameron Fry. There was 2 different Ferris Buellers that came out. I think the other one had him in his red jacket or something. He's just sort of standing there. But I had to pick up this one where he's in a little leopard vest with the microphone from that famous scene where he's singing up on the float, singing Twist and Shout, which is cool. One of my favorite scenes in that movie. So I had to grab this one. Again, it's one of those nice little touches that sort of remind you of the film. And Cameron Fry there as well. He's not a great figure. Like, you wouldn't know who that was if you just looked at it. You have to have the team up right there. Ferris Bueller and Cameron. Likewise, another dynamic duo right here, Bill and Ted. Excellent. These are excellent figures. Love them. These are from the first movie, I believe, Excellent Adventure. Bogus Journey was always my favorite as a kid, but I'm happy I'm able to own both Bill and Ted in pop vinyl form. These are fairly recent additions too. Like I said, they just doing some really cool things recently. And another 2 of my favorite film characters of all time, Clark Griswold and Cousin Eddie from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, arguably the greatest of all the vacation movies. Watch it every Christmas, love it. Clark right here is just so awesome. He's got his little Christmas hat on, he's got his Santa jacket, he's got his Marty Moose eggnog cup there, which is just a great little touch again. And Cousin Eddie there in his bathrobe, he's got a cigar, he's got a can of beer. Oh, could you be more white trash than this? Cousin Eddie, absolutely fantastic. I won't say the line that he says, but if you know the movie well, he's standing out there emptying the sewage into the street, and yeah, it was full. I won't say it, but it's a brilliant line. And I look at this figure, I think of it, you just have to laugh. Another few early Hot Toys is the Ghostbusters collection. And this is the only pop ride I ever bought, which is the Ecto-1 Ghostbusters car. He was the only way you could get Winston. For some reason, they didn't sell him by himself. You had to buy the car to get him. Again, that's the way they trick you into these things. You have to buy the overpriced car and figure set to get one of the characters. I would have bought the car by itself anyway because that's just too cool. I didn't actually have a little model version of the Ghostbusters car to begin with, so picking that up was a no-brainer for these figures. These were some of the earlier ones I bought as well, and the first one where I bought like a whole range of them. Venkman, of course, Bill Murray. Stantz up the back, Dan Aykroyd. Spengler, Harold Ramis. And Winston Zeddemore, Ernie Hudson. This was just a great movie, wasn't it? Ghostbusters. And we got to go up here to see the rest of them. We got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. This is the first big pop vinyl I ever bought. And then Slimer, of course. You have to get Slimer to go with the Ghostbusters. Great, I love it. And another, like one of those little unique sort of pop vinyl things. They all sort of start looking the same sometimes, but something like this is unique and great. This is what I call my classic gangsters collection. We got Don Vito Corleone from The Godfather, Marlon Brando. Again, big Marlon Brando fan, so happy to have him in the collection there as well. Al Pacino as Scarface right there, one of the earlier pop vinyls as well. Had to have that one, love that movie, love Al Pacino. And of course, De Niro. De Niro needs to be represented in the collection somehow, and this is De Niro from Taxi Driver. Travis Bickle, great movie. This shelf down here I like to call the Will Ferrell collection. Will Ferrell himself, Ricky Bobby. Fantastic, his little racing suit there. We got his pal Cal Norton here, John C. Reilly. Fantastic, shake and bake. And in the middle, we've got Jean Girard, played by Borat. Not Borat, named Sacha Baron Cohen. A little bit of a Borat, French Borat. We got Buddy the Elf right here. Again, Will Ferrell, one of his earlier movies. Probably the first movie I ever saw Will Ferrell in. We saw this on a school trip in primary school, one of my later years of primary school. Love it. It's a staple of every Christmas year, and fantastic movie. I think this year they're actually making a bunch more of these. There's going to be a couple of different Buddy the Elf variants. I think Jovi the Elf and a couple of the other characters as well. And again, we have Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly from Step Brothers, which is just, what a great movie. Will Ferrell's got his little katana in his hand there, and we got John C. Reilly who's got little drumsticks. Yeah, we know the significance of the drumstick scene. Again, I'm not going to mention that, but when you think of those drumsticks, you know what else has been on that drum? So there's a little Will Ferrell collection again. The one Will Ferrell character they haven't done yet, strangely enough, Ron Burgundy, Anchorman. Where is he? Make it happen, Funko. I want little Ron Burgundy in my collection, it'd be great. Here we have another one of my favourite characters from classic cinema, Holly Golightly from Breakfast at Tiffany's, of course Audrey Hepburn. I was so happy when they announced this one. Just to have the chance to have little Audrey Hepburn in the pop vinyl collection, just had to happen. And we have an Amy Winehouse pop vinyl. Not a fan of Amy Winehouse, I just thought the pop vinyl looked pretty cool, so I had to pick that one up. I think I got it in a multi-buy deal. I wound up getting it really cheap. It might have been like buy one get one free or something like that, and there wasn't really any other ones I wanted at the store or something. I don't know. One brilliant little collection here is the Peanuts gang. I love these ones too much. They released a few of these over a couple of years. Of course, Charlie Brown, good grief, had to have him in the collection, of course. Standing next to him is Snoopy. They've done a bunch of variants of Snoopy, but this is the only one we ended up picking up. There's a flocked version, I think, and just a couple of other random ones. He comes with little Woodstock there. Again, around the time where they started bundling up big pop vinyls with little characters, it would annoy me if they did Woodstock as a separate character and he was the same size as Snoopy. Of course, we've got Linus over here with his little safety blanket, which is fantastic, great character. And then, of course, there's Lucy over here. Not the best of the bunch, but had to have it there to complete the collection. Of course, Charlie Brown's sister, Sally Brown, there as well. Again, not one of the greatest figures, not one of the greatest characters, but had to complete the set. And of course, Peppermint Patty. This was a New York City Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con exclusive figure as well. I had to pull this one out of the box though. Couldn't have one in a box and the rest out of the box. And then of course, Olaf. This is the Frozen Olaf variant wearing a little weird peppy hat. No, this is Olaf from Peanuts. Of course, this is Snoopy's cousin or something. I don't know. I don't ever remember seeing anything with Olaf in it. I think he might have been a later character or something. Strange, but it's basically a Snoopy wearing a weird little Italian hat. Another few of the very, very early pop vinyl figures. These are some of the earliest ones I bought, of course. And again, so excited when they announced these are the Pulp Fiction figures. So cool. You obviously can't get your hands on these ones anymore either. These are ones that go for a bomb on eBay, but I just can't sell them. I love them too much. John Travolta's Vincent Vega in the middle there. Got Jules Winifred, of course, Samuel L. Jackson. He is a BMF, as he would like to say. Again, we won't be saying that on this channel, but that's what he is. And of course, Mia Wallace right here, Uma Thurman's character. She's doing a little dance that they do at the Jackrabbit Slims, the little diner that they go to. Again, another one of those little things they just add to the character, adds a little bit of personality, reminds you of a favourite scene from the film. This one here, Butch, Bruce Willis's character. This was a later figure. They did the other ones first and then went back and did Butch. Not too sure if there's a licensing issue there or something. I know Bruce Willis doesn't like action figures being made of him or something like that. So that might have held this one back or something, but at least we got a Butch in the end. I think maybe this is the only one you can still get your hands on. I think I've seen this guy around a little bit. Another great actor that I just love having represented here. When are they going to do John McClane Die Hard? That's one they haven't done yet. I'd like to see that. That'd be awesome. And Quentin Tarantino himself, of course, director of Pulp Fiction and also actor who portrayed Jimmy. When they come and they bring the body to his house, he gets a little bit annoyed. And it's great that you can have a little Tarantino there as well, somehow. We have a few TV characters as well here. Don't have a huge collection of television characters, but we'll finish this video off with them. These are, of course, my Friends characters. My favorite comedy of all time. Probably my favorite series of all time. Rachel right here, Jennifer Aniston. In a little Central Perk outfit with a little cup. As you'll see, these figures are based on versions of the characters from the very early seasons. Sort of the most iconic versions of the characters, I suppose. So there's Rachel. She's got a Rachel haircut and she's working for Central Perk as she did in early seasons. We have Phoebe here with her guitar, of course. They try and add just a little bit of something to make the characters, I suppose, recognizable. Something that's iconic and just instantly recognizable as that character. Otherwise, probably wouldn't recognize who these figures were. Of course, Monica. This is the one I'm sort of least impressed with. Monica in her chef's outfit. I mean, it makes sense. It's something iconic of the character that she was a chef. But I think they probably could have found something just a little bit, I don't know, something that made her seem more normal and not like she's in, you know, work clothes or something. I mean, Rachel is, but that's Central Perk, so that's a very iconic point of the show. This is just a chef. We got the three boys here. Again, as I was saying, you would not know, oh, that's Joey, Chandler, and Ross if they didn't have their little animals with them. Joey has got the duck. Again, early seasons where they bought the little chick and the duck. Season 3, I think. Chandler has got the duck there and he's in his little vest, of course, which is great. And Ross there holding his monkey, little Marcel. Of course, Marcel was season 1. So it's sort of a mix. They're not all from the same season of the show. They're just with something iconic that sort of makes you think of the character, makes you think of certain episodes, memories of funny lines, funny little gags and stuff. I think they're just brilliant little figures there. Got this great wave of Breaking Bad figures. They did quite a few of these as well, a bunch of different variants and stuff, but I ended up just picking up just sort of these main ones. We have the main, they have regular Walt and Jesse, sort of in civilian clothes, and then of course had to get them in their hazmat suits, which is just so iconic of the later seasons of the show, where they really get full swing into making their product. We have Heisenberg. So we've got 3 different Walter Whites, but you have to have Heisenberg because he's sort of a character of himself, isn't he? He's holding a little pack of blue there. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Gus Fring right here. They did this great variant of Gus. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's a pretty gnarly, pretty bloody version of Gus Fring out there on the market. Saul Goodman, of course. Better Call Saul. I think that's great. I think there's another Saul variant from the TV show, Better Call Saul. Mike, his mate Mike. Not a great figure, but he just had to have every one of these characters sort of complete the set. And of course, Hank as well, the Enforcer. Gotta love a little bit of Hank, so there's Hank in that collection too. Couple of little animation ones here. Brian, Peter, and Stewie from Family Guy. Had to have them. They were so cool. They did some Simpsons ones, which just looked weird. And although Simpsons is my favorite animated series ever, I just couldn't get those ones. They look too weird, but I love the little Family Guy ones. They're cool. Got a couple of little Parks and Rec figures here. Had to get a couple of these. They did a huge wave of them, but I didn't want all of them. I just wanted a couple. Leslie Knope there on the left, and of course Ron Swanson on the right. 2 brilliant characters. I considered picking up Andy Dwyer, of course Chris Pratt's character. I just didn't get him. Maybe I will one day, but those 2 are the 2 iconic characters that I just had to get from that show, which I absolutely love. And we'll end today's video taking a look at a character from some classic television, which is the robot from Lost in Space, also known as the B9 class M3 General Utility Non-Theorizing Environmental Control Robot, also known as Robot in the show, as an easy way of putting it. He's a pretty great little figure. Love that series, and just had to have him for the collection too. And I think it's a great way to end the video on this little robot guy. Don't ask me to say his full name again. And there you go, that is my entire Pop Vinyl movie collection. Of course, I keep this collection separate to my Disney pop vinyls, my Star Wars pop vinyls, and my Marvel pop vinyls. I've already uploaded videos for my Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars pop vinyls, so if you want to check them out, there will be a hyperlink right after the jump. Also, after the jump, if you're a first-time viewer of my channel and you like what you've seen and you'd like to see some more, I'm going to be doing pop vinyl video updates as of right now. Every time I pick up some pop vinyls, I'll do like a little update video to go through my little hauls. If you'd like to keep up to date with all that kind of stuff, then please, also after the jump, hit subscribe. To all my regular viewers out there, thank you once again for joining me. To absolutely everybody, I hope I'll see you again soon. Until next time though guys, take care, and I hope you have a magical day.